At 76, Meryl Streep finally speaks up about Robert Redford. People have spent decades trying to figure out what really connected Meryl Streep and Robert Redford. I always assumed it was just another famous Hollywood partnership. The more I looked into it, the more I realized the real story was quieter and maybe even more meaningful than any rumor ever invented. For most of her career, Meryl Streep has protected her private thoughts better than almost anyone in Hollywood. She has always preferred letting her work speak instead of explaining herself. That's one reason people are still fascinated by her after all these years. But recently, as she reflected on the people who shaped her life, one name kept coming back. Robert Redford. Not because of scandal. Not because of scandal. Not because of scandal. Because of respect. And somehow, that's the part that feels even more powerful. It's funny, isn't it? Hollywood trains us to expect dramatic love stories, secret affairs, shocking betrayals. We almost forget that two people can profoundly change each other's lives without any of those things happening. That's what surprised me most. Before we even get to Redford, you have to understand who Meryl was long before she became the actress everyone now calls the greatest of her generation. She wasn't raised believing fame was the goal. She was raised believing effort mattered. Born in Summit, New Jersey in 1949, Meryl grew up with parents who constantly encouraged curiosity. Her mother, Mary Wilkinson Streep, filled her daughter with confidence from an early age. She repeatedly told Meryl something that stayed with her forever. "You can do anything." Simple words. But children often spend their entire lives living inside sentences like that. At school, Meryl looked nothing like the intimidating icon audiences know today. She was popular. She cheered at football games. She was even crowned homecoming queen. Yet behind that image was someone quietly searching for something more meaningful. At just 12 years old, she began studying opera. She had talent. Real talent. But after several years, she walked away. Not because she couldn't sing, because she couldn't feel what she was singing. That decision says everything about who Meryl would become. Even as a teenager, she wasn't interested in performing emotions she didn't believe. Truth mattered more than perfection. That principle followed her all the way to Yale School of Drama. Life there wasn't glamorous, not even close. She waited tables, worked office jobs, spent nearly every waking hour rehearsing plays. Some years, she performed in dozens of productions. The workload became so overwhelming that stress reportedly caused ulcers. There were moments she seriously questioned whether acting was worth it. Law school even crossed her mind. Imagine that for a second. One of cinema's greatest actresses nearly abandoned acting altogether. History really can hinge on tiny decisions. When she finally arrived in New York during the mid-1970s, Hollywood wasn't exactly welcoming. In fact, one early audition became legendary for all the wrong reasons. She auditioned for King Kong. Producer Dino De Laurentiis reportedly dismissed her appearance in Italian, assuming she wouldn't understand him. He called her unattractive. Unfortunately for him, Meryl spoke Italian. Instead of shrinking, she calmly answered him in his own language. She apologized for not matching his expectations of beauty and walked away with her dignity completely intact. I love that story. Not because someone insulted her, because she never begged for approval. She simply kept going. And that attitude would define almost everything that followed. Her personal life soon became just as significant as her career. In 1976, she met actor John Cazale while working in theater. They fell deeply in love, but happiness was interrupted almost immediately. Cazale was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer. Most people know him today for films like The Godfather and Dog Day Afternoon. What many don't realize is how devoted Meryl became during his illness. She accepted film roles largely because they allowed her to stay close to him. She even took television work to help pay overwhelming medical expenses. Awards didn't matter.